What if I told you that beneath your feet right now, there might be treasures worth billions of dollars? Ancient cities lost to time, golden masks that have gazed upon pharaohs, or perhaps the bones of creatures so massive they could swallow a school bus whole? Every year, archaeologists uncover secrets that completely rewrite human history. Some finds are so incredible, so impossible, that they challenge everything we thought we knew about our ancestors. Today, we're counting down the 25 most amazing archaeological discoveries ever made. Discoveries that have sparked wars, solved ancient mysteries, and revealed civilizations so advanced they seem almost alien. Get ready for a journey through time that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the past. Picture this: you're an archaeologist, carefully brushing sand away from what looks like just another piece of pottery. But as more dirt falls away, you realize you're looking at something that hasn't seen daylight for thousands of years. Your heart races as you uncover what could be the discovery of a lifetime. This is the reality for the brave men and women who dedicate their lives to uncovering our past. Throughout history, these remarkable finds have changed our understanding of human civilization, ancient cultures, and the very timeline of our species. Some discoveries were made by professional archaeologists after years of careful excavation. Others were stumbled upon by farmers, construction workers, or even children playing in their backyard. But all of them share one thing in common: they've left us absolutely speechless. From golden death masks to entire underground cities, from mysterious stone circles to perfectly preserved ancient humans, these 25 discoveries will take you on a journey through time itself. Are you ready to explore the most incredible archaeological finds our planet has ever revealed? 25. The Staffordshire Hoard, 2009. In 2009, a metal detectorist named Terry Herbert was scanning a field in England when his detector went absolutely crazy. What he found buried beneath the soil was the largest collection of Anglo-Saxon gold and silver metalwork ever discovered. Over 3,500 items dating back to the 7th century, including sword hilts, helmet fragments, and religious artifacts covered in garnets and intricate designs. But here's where it gets mysterious. Why were these precious items buried together? Some experts believe they were war spoils, hastily buried during a time of conflict. Others think they might have been a royal treasury, hidden during a Viking raid. The hoard was valued at over £3 million, but its historical value? Absolutely priceless. 24. The Vindolanda Tablets, 1973 present. Deep beneath the ruins of a Roman fort near Hadrian's Wall, archaeologists discovered something extraordinary. Over 1,700 wooden tablets covered in ancient handwriting. These weren't grand historical documents. They were personal letters, shopping lists, birthday invitations, and even complaints about the weather. One tablet contains the oldest surviving handwritten document by a woman in Britain, a birthday party invitation from around 100 AD. Another reveals a Roman soldier asking for more beer and warm clothing. These tablets give us an incredibly intimate glimpse into daily Roman life, showing us that people 2,000 years ago worried about the same things we do today. 23. The Nebra Sky Disk, 1999. Imagine finding a bronze disc covered in gold symbols that represents the oldest known depiction of the cosmos. That's exactly what treasure hunters found in Germany in 1999. The Nebra Sky Disk, dating back 3,600 years, shows the sun, moon, and stars in a way that suggests our ancestors understood astronomy far better than we ever imagined. But here's the controversial part. Some experts believe this disk proves that Bronze Age Europeans had sophisticated astronomical knowledge that rivaled ancient civilizations thousands of miles away. How could people with bronze tools create something so mathematically precise? The mystery deepens when you realize the disc was found with weapons and tools, suggesting it might have been buried as part of a ritual sacrifice. 22. The bog bodies. Scattered across northern Europe's peat bogs lie some of the most perfectly preserved human remains ever found. These aren't just skeletons. These are actual people, with skin, hair, and even facial expressions still intact after thousands of years. The most famous is Tollen Man, discovered in Denmark in 1950, whose peaceful expression makes him look like he's simply sleeping. But the bog bodies hide dark secrets. Many show signs of violent death, strangulation, throat cutting, or blunt force trauma. Were these ritual sacrifices, political executions, or something even more sinister? The acidic conditions of the bogs preserved these ancient murder victims so well that we can still see their last meals in their stomachs. Some had eaten porridge made from dozens of different plants, a meal so elaborate it suggests these weren't random victims, but carefully chosen sacrifices. 21. The Uluburun Shipwreck, 1982. Off the coast of Turkey lies the remains of a 3,300-year-old ship that reads like an ancient shopping list of the entire known world. This Bronze Age vessel carried cargo from at least 7 different civilizations: African ebony, Baltic amber, Sicilian copper, and tin from Central Asia. What makes this discovery so incredible isn't just the ship itself, but what it tells us about ancient trade networks. This single vessel proves that 3,000 years ago, there was already a global economy connecting civilizations across continents. The ship was carrying enough raw materials to equip a small army, including weapons-grade copper and tin. Was this peaceful trade, or were ancient civilizations preparing for war on a scale we never imagined? 20. The Clovis Points. For decades, scientists believe the first humans arrived in North America around 13,000 years ago, bringing with them distinctive spear points known as Clovis points. These beautifully crafted stone weapons were found across the continent, all remarkably similar in design. But recent discoveries have shattered this timeline completely. Pre-Clovis sites are being found all across the Americas, pushing back human arrival by thousands of years. Some controversial finds suggest humans might have been in the Americas over 20,000 years ago. If true, this completely rewrites the story of human migration and forces us to ask, who were these earlier people and what happened to them? 19. The Antikythera mechanism, 1901. In 1901, sponge divers off the Greek island of Antikythera discovered what looked like a corroded lump of bronze among the remains of an ancient shipwreck. For decades, this mysterious object sat forgotten in a museum until X-rays revealed something impossible: a complex mechanical computer with dozens of precision-cut bronze gears. This ancient Greek device, dating to around 100 BC, could predict eclipses, track planetary movements, and calculate the dates of Olympic Games decades in advance. The level of mechanical sophistication wouldn't be seen again until clockwork mechanisms appeared in medieval Europe over 1,000 years later. How did ancient Greeks develop technology that seemed to vanish completely from human knowledge? Some researchers believe the Antikythera mechanism suggests there was an entire tradition of advanced mechanical engineering that was completely lost to history. 18. The Scythian gold. Deep in the frozen tombs of Siberia, archaeologists have uncovered some of the most spectacular golden artifacts ever found. The Scythians were nomadic warriors who ruled the steppes from the 9th to 1st centuries BC, and they took their love of gold with them to the grave. These burial sites, preserved by permafrost, contain intricate golden animals, elaborate headdresses, and weapons adorned with precious metals. But the most incredible find was a fully intact Scythian warrior princess, her body covered in tattoos and surrounded by thousands of golden ornaments. What makes these finds controversial is their incredible preservation. Some organic materials are so well preserved that we can still see the colors of ancient textiles and even analyze the contents of the warriors' stomachs. 17. The Hawk Snow Hoard, 1992. A farmer in Suffolk, England, lost his hammer and asked a friend with a metal detector to help find it. They never found the hammer, but they discovered something far more valuable: the largest collection of late Roman silver and gold ever found in Britain. The Hawk Snow Hoard contained over 15,000 Roman coins, 200 items of silver tableware, and dozens of pieces of gold jewelry, all buried around 408 to 450 AD. But here's what's truly mysterious. This enormous wealth was buried with extreme care in wooden chests and never retrieved. The family that buried it simply vanished from history. Were they fleeing from Saxon invasions? Did they die before they could return? The hoard represents not just incredible wealth, but the final desperate moments of Roman Britain. 16. The Seahenge, 1998. On a beach in Norfolk, England, the retreating tide revealed something that looked like it belonged in a fantasy novel. A perfect circle of ancient wooden posts surrounding an upturned oak tree stump. Dubbed Seahenge, this Bronze Age monument was built exactly 4,049 years ago. We know this because the tree rings tell us the oak was felled in the spring of 2049 BC. But why was it built? The inverted tree stump suggests this might have been a sky burial site, where bodies were left to be consumed by birds before the bones were collected for final burial. The precision of the construction is staggering. Every post was carefully shaped and positioned. Yet after all that work, the site seems to have been used for just a few decades before being abandoned. What happened to the people who built Seahenge? And why did they go to such extraordinary lengths to create something they would soon abandon? 15. The Sumerian King List. Imagine finding an ancient document that claims some kings ruled for over 30,000 years. That's exactly what archaeologists found, carved in cuneiform on clay tablets throughout Mesopotamia. The Sumerian King List, dating back over 4,000 years, records the reigns of Sumerian kings, but with reign lengths that seem impossible. Before the Great Flood, the list claims kings ruled for tens of thousands of years. After the flood, the reigns become more realistic, a few hundred to 1,000 years. Most scholars dismiss the enormous reign lengths as mythological, but some controversial researchers wonder, what if these numbers represent something else entirely? Could they be recording astronomical cycles or encoding information about ancient calendars we don't understand? The list remains one of archaeology's most puzzling documents. 14. The Qing Shi Huang Terracotta Army, 1974. Chinese farmers digging a well during a drought uncovered what might be the most ambitious burial project in human history. Over 8,000 life-size terracotta soldiers, each with unique facial features, stood in battle formation, guarding the tomb of China's first emperor. But the Terracotta Army was just the beginning. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed an entire underground necropolis spanning 38 square miles. There are terracotta horses, chariots, acrobats, and even an army of terracotta bureaucrats to help the emperor rule in the afterlife. The emperor's actual burial chamber remains unopened. Ancient sources claim it contains flowing rivers of mercury and a ceiling decorated with pearls to represent stars. Could these accounts be true? And what other secrets lie buried in this vast underground empire? 13. The Varna Necropolis, 1972. In 1972, Bulgarian archaeologists uncovered what might be the oldest worked gold in the world. The Varna Necropolis, dating back 6,600 years, contained elaborate burials filled with golden artifacts that predate Stonehenge by over 1,000 years. The most spectacular burial contained a skeleton wearing a golden penis sheath and surrounded by golden axes, diadems, and jewelry. The sophistication of these golden objects suggests a highly advanced civilization with complex social hierarchies and metalworking skills that weren't thought to exist so early. But here's the mystery. This advanced culture seems to have suddenly vanished around 4200 BC. What caused such a sophisticated civilization to disappear so completely that they left barely a trace? 12. The Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947 to 1956. A young Bedouin shepherd throwing stones into a cave near the Dead Sea accidentally made one of the most important archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. The caves contained nearly 1,000 ancient Jewish texts, including the oldest known copies of biblical books. But the scrolls revealed more than just ancient religious texts. They contained completely unknown works, including detailed calendars, mysterious prophecies, and sectarian documents that paint a picture of a much more diverse and complex ancient Jewish world than previously known. Some scrolls remain untranslated and controversial, with access restricted for decades. What secrets do these remaining texts contain? And why have some scholars fought so hard to keep certain scrolls from public view? 11. The Sutton Hoo Ship Burial, 1939. In 1939, just as World War II was beginning, archaeologists in England uncovered a burial that completely changed our understanding of the Dark Ages. Beneath a mound in Suffolk lay the impression of a 90-foot-long ship filled with the most spectacular collection of Anglo-Saxon artifacts ever found. The burial contained a golden helmet with intricate decorations, a jeweled sword, silver dishes from the Byzantine Empire, and coins that help date the burial to around 625 AD. But whose burial was this? Most scholars believe it belonged to King Raedwald, but no body was ever found. Was this a cenotaph? An empty grave honoring a king whose body was lost? Or did the acidic soil simply dissolve all traces of the deceased? The mystery of the missing king adds an extra layer of intrigue to this already spectacular find. 10. The Amber Room, lost and found. Known as the eighth wonder of the world, the Amber Room was a chamber decorated entirely in amber panels backed with gold leaf and mirrors. Created in the 18th century for the Catherine Palace near St. Petersburg, it was stolen by Nazi Germany during World War II and has never been recovered. Here's where archaeology meets modern mystery. Despite decades of searching, the original Amber Room panels have never been found. Some believe they were destroyed in the bombing of Königsberg. Others think they're hidden in secret bunkers or caves across Eastern Europe. Treasure hunters and archaeologists continue to search, following every lead and rumor. A complete reconstruction was finished in 2003, but the location of the original remains one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. 9. The Rosetta Stone, 1799. Napoleon's soldiers weren't looking for archaeological treasures when they found a black granite slab while building fortifications in Egypt. But this stone would become the key that unlocked the secrets of ancient Egypt. The Rosetta Stone contained the same text written in three scripts: ancient Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and Demotic script. For over 1,400 years, no one could read hieroglyphs. Ancient Egyptian civilization remained locked away, its stories untold. But French scholar Jean-François Champollion used the Rosetta Stone to crack the code. suddenly opening up thousands of years of Egyptian history. Imagine if we couldn't read any English text from before 600 AD. That's what Egyptian archaeology was like before this single stone changed everything. 8. The Riese Bronzes, 1972. Two Italian vacationers snorkeling off the coast of southern Italy made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Lying on the seabed, perfectly preserved by the saltwater, were two magnificent bronze statues from ancient Greece. These aren't just any statues. They represent the absolute pinnacle of classical Greek art. Dating to around 460 to 430 BC, they show muscular warriors with incredibly realistic details, from individual strands of hair to the veins on their arms. But here's the mystery. We have no idea who made them, who they represent, or how they ended up on the ocean floor. Were they being transported to Rome as war spoils? Did they belong to a temple that was being moved? The Riese Bronzes are masterpieces without a story. Perfect art from an imperfect historical record. 7. The Cave of Altamira, 1879. A Spanish nobleman and his 8-year-old daughter were exploring a cave when she looked up and screamed, "Look, Papa, oxen!" What she had discovered were cave paintings so sophisticated and beautiful that experts initially refused to believe they were ancient. The paintings in Altamira, created around 36,000 years ago, show bison, horses, and deer painted with such skill and three-dimensional perspective that they rival Renaissance masterpieces. For years, archaeologists dismissed them as hoaxes. Surely primitive cave dwellers couldn't create such art. It took decades before the scientific community accepted that our Ice Age ancestors were capable of artistic expression that would make modern painters jealous. These paintings force us to completely reconsider what we mean by primitive humans. 6. The Tomb of the First Emperor's Army, but not the Emperor. We talked about the Terracotta Army earlier, but here's what most people don't know. The actual tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang has never been opened. Ancient historians described it as containing flowing rivers of mercury beneath a bronze ceiling studded with pearls representing constellations. Recent tests have detected unusually high mercury levels in the soil around the unopened burial chamber, suggesting the ancient accounts might be true. But Chinese authorities refuse to excavate, partly out of respect and partly because they're not sure current technology can preserve whatever lies inside. What if opening the tomb reveals technology or artifacts that completely change our understanding of ancient China? Or what if the emperor's body has been preserved in ways we can't imagine? 5. The Minoan Palace of Knossos, 1900 to 1931. British archaeologist Arthur Evans uncovered what he believed was the legendary palace of King Minos and the mythical labyrinth of the Minotaur. The palace complex covered 6 acres and contained over 1,300 rooms connected by corridors so complex they seemed to match the ancient descriptions of the labyrinth. But Evans's excavation was controversial from the start. He extensively restored and reconstructed the site, sometimes adding his own artistic interpretations of what the palace might have looked like. Critics argue that modern visitors aren't seeing an ancient Minoan palace, but Arthur Evans's early 20th century vision of one. Still, Knossos revealed the sophisticated Minoan civilization that dominated the Mediterranean 4,000 years ago, complete with indoor plumbing, multi-story buildings, and frescoes depicting bull-leaping ceremonies that might have inspired the Minotaur legend. 4. The Denisova Cave Discoveries, 2008 present. In a remote cave in Siberia, archaeologists found a tiny finger bone that would rewrite the entire story of human evolution. DNA analysis revealed that this bone belonged to an entirely unknown species of human, the Denisovans, who lived alongside Neanderthals and modern humans. But here's where it gets really incredible. We now know that Denisovans interbred with our ancestors, and their genetic legacy lives on in modern humans, particularly in Southeast Asia and Oceania. Some Denisovan genes help Tibetans survive at high altitudes, while others might help Pacific Islanders dive to great depths. We're literally carrying the DNA of a human species we only discovered 15 years ago. What other human species might have existed that we haven't found yet? The Tomb of Tutankhamun, 1922. Howard Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb was the archaeological equivalent of winning the lottery. After years of fruitless searching in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, Carter found a tomb that had remained virtually untouched for over 3,000 years. The tomb contained over 5,000 artifacts, including the famous golden burial mask, ceremonial beds shaped like animals, chariots, weapons, and even the mummified remains of two stillborn daughters. But Tutankhamun wasn't a particularly important pharaoh. He died young and his reign was brief. If a minor king was buried with such incredible wealth, what must the tombs of great pharaohs like Ramesses II have contained? The discovery made headlines worldwide and sparked Tut-mania, a global obsession with ancient Egypt. But it also launched the legend of the Curse of the Pharaohs, when several people connected to the tomb's opening died under mysterious circumstances. Coincidence or ancient protection spell? 2. The Lascaux Cave Paintings, 1940. 4 French teenagers, following their dog into a cave, stumbled upon what many consider the Sistine Chapel of prehistoric art. The cave walls of Lascaux are covered with over 600 paintings and 1,500 engravings created around 17,000 years ago. These aren't simple stick figures. They're sophisticated artworks showing horses, cattle, bison, and deer painted with incredible skill and understanding of animal anatomy. Some paintings use the cave's natural contours to create three-dimensional effects that seem to make the animals move in flickering torchlight. The artists mixed pigments, understood perspective, and created compositions that tell complex stuff. But here's what's truly mind-blowing. These cave painters had been creating masterpieces for thousands of years before agriculture was even invented. While we tend to think of cavemen as brutish and primitive, the evidence shows they were sophisticated artists with aesthetic sensibilities that wouldn't look out of place in a modern gallery. 1. The discovery of Pompeii, 1748, present. Nothing prepared archaeologists for what they found when they began excavating the Roman city of Pompeii. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it didn't just destroy the city, it perfectly preserved it, creating a time capsule that gives us the most detailed picture of ancient Roman daily life ever found. Walking through Pompeii today is like stepping back in time. You can see ancient graffiti on walls, half-eaten meals on tables, and even the ruts worn by chariot wheels in the stone streets. The volcanic ash preserved everything: furniture, artwork, food, and even the final moments of the vict. But the most haunting discoveries are the plaster casts of Pompeii's residents. When bodies decomposed in the hardened ash, they left perfect hollow spaces that archaeologists filled with plaster, creating exact molds of people in their final moments. A dog straining against its chain, children huddled together, a family attempting to shelter in their home. These casts capture the raw human drama of one of history's greatest natural disasters. Recent excavations continue to reveal new secrets. In 2018, archaeologists found a U-tack chariot and the remains of horses still in their harnesses. Ground-penetrating radar suggests entire districts remain unexcavated. What other perfectly preserved moments from Roman life are still waiting beneath the volcanic soil? But not all archaeological finds fit neatly into our understanding of history. Some discoveries are so strange, so out of place, that they challenge everything we thought we knew about the past. The Göbekli Tepe complex in Turkey contains massive stone circles with intricate carvings that predate Stonehenge by 6,000 years. Built by hunter-gatherers who supposedly lacked the organization for such massive construction projects, Göbekli Tepe suggests that complex civilization might be thousands of years older than we believed. In Romania, the Argidava Dacian citadel contains precision-cut stone blocks that fit together so perfectly that you can't slip a piece of paper between them. Technology that wasn't supposed to exist in ancient Europe. Similar precision stonework appears in cultures across the world who supposedly never had contact with each other. And then there are the artifacts that simply don't make sense. Roman dodecahedra found across Europe that no one can explain. The Baghdad Battery that appears to be an ancient electrical cell, and stone spheres in Costa Rica that are so perfectly round they seem machine-made, despite being created over 1,000 years ago. Are we missing crucial chapters in human history? Did our ancestors possess knowledge and abilities that were somehow lost? Or are we simply not yet advanced enough ourselves to understand what they accomplished? These 25 discoveries represent just the tip of the iceberg. Every year brings new finds that force us to rewrite textbooks and reconsider our assumptions about the past. From golden treasures that reveal ancient trade networks to perfectly preserved moments of human drama. From mysterious technologies to artistic masterpieces created by people we once considered primitive, each discovery reminds us that history is far stranger and more wonderful than we ever imagined. But perhaps the most amazing thing about these archaeological finds isn't what they tell us about the past. It's what they reveal about human nature itself. Whether creating breathtaking art in Ice Age caves, developing complex astronomical computers, or burying incredible treasures for us to find thousands of years later, our ancestors were driven by the same curiosity, creativity, and hope that motivates us today. The next time you walk across an empty field or explore an old building, remember that beneath your feet might lie the next great archaeological discovery. The past is never really gone. It's just waiting for someone brave enough to start digging. What incredible secrets do you think are still buried out there, waiting for the next lucky archaeologist to uncover? The story of human civilization is still being written, one remarkable discovery at a time.